Welcome back to the Talk Shop Podcast, Episode 2, with guest voice actress Brenna Thornton. Today I sit down with the awesome Brenna Thornton and we talk about voice acting, her journey through it, some of the things she's learned and has so far gleaned from it. Also included is one of her projects that she worked on that is now having its own movie premiere next week in June. Welcome back to the podcast, people. My name is Richie, and I am joined here by the amazing Brenna Thornton. How's it going?
Hi, I'm well, and you?
I'm good and stuff. I'm glad that we were able to do this because I've been looking for people and I want to hear their story, other artists like you, to see how you got to this point in your career, what helped you, what you avoided, things like that. So it's always great having somebody else, having new guests and so many and stuff. But yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely consider myself to be a really smaller creator. So I really appreciate you giving me a time to share my experiences and stuff like that. I know a bunch of people who have probably been on your podcast before. Definitely appreciate you giving them an opportunity to share their experience.
Thank you. So before we start talking shop, what game are you playing right now?
Okay. I'm sure you've seen my Twitter. I post about this dude all the time. I've been getting a little bit into Grand Blue Fantasy.
Nice.
Versus I want to play the mobile game, but they don't have it for iPhone, so I've been trying to find any other way to play it. But yeah, I've been on a little bit of a Grand Blue Fantasy hype as of recent because Belial. Oh my gosh. But yeah, what games have you been interested in as of recent?
So as soon as I could, and I was so happy to GameStop at Stonestown because I'm around San Francisco. I went to pre-order Breath of the Wild. No. Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Thanks. And that's literally all I've been playing in and out. So I'll probably play a few matches of Halo with my friend, but then me and him are just right off to our Switch. He's like, all right, man, I gotta go. Tears of the Kingdom, right? He's like, yeah, you know how it is, man.
Priorities.
Priorities.
No, I totally get that. There's something therapeutic about, okay, I admit I didn't really get into the Zelda games until Breath of the Wild because my friend was like, just try it, take my game and try it. I'm like, oh my gosh. The graphics are so pretty and the voice acting is great.
It is.
I don't know why those games are really therapeutic.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I loved it because when I first decided to start taking voice acting seriously, I got a job at a tech company because I used to work for Instacart's customer support. And then I was like, oh, wow, I'm making good money. What should I do? Buy a Switch. What else should I do? Buy Breath of the Wild. This time I was correct. Breath of the Wild at full price. And I just couldn't unglue from it. And then that is one of the things that had really signified my starting for becoming a voice actor. And then now it's been years since the game came out. And it's like, all right, here's the sequel. And I'm like, it's almost like a reflection back as well.
Well, that must be so cool for you. I didn't get into Breath of the Wild until a few years after it came out. So considering that you were there in the beginning, I can only imagine how crazy it must be feeling to see the sequel finally out. Y'all waited much longer than I did. I came to the party late.
I actually, because my first Zelda game was Ocarina of Time, but I had bought Breath of the Wild years after it came out, and it was still at full price, and I put the money down, and I was like, yeah, I completely do not regret a cent of this.
Oh yeah, no, it was the best purchase ever. Best purchase.
Completely. All right, so now we're talking about video games. Let's talk shop. Tell us about yourself. What is it that you do as a voice actor? Or actress?
As a voice actress, I do my best to bring people's characters to life, because there's something amazing about not only getting to be able to play pretend as a profession, but I always get a big kick at watching the people that I work with, whether they're animators or voice directors or someone mixing the audio. I get a big kick out of seeing everything together, and I love being a part of something collective like that. And I love being a part of group stuff like that, and just to be able to bring something to an audience and make them, I'm all about because we as people, we watch this sort of content ourselves, and it makes us feel stuff all the time: anger, love, many emotions. And my goal is to make people feel that way as well, kind of pass that feeling down, I guess, in a way. I don't know if that kind of makes sense. I feel like a lot of the things I say come out as word vomit.
No, it totally makes sense.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just strive to really bring these stories to life, assist in any way I can by doing what I love and working alongside people who are just as passionate about what I do, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's always good to talk to other artists who they're passionate about their work, they got the drive for it, and then they're always driven to learn more about it and
Yeah.
become even better to communicate these kind of stories. Because I've seen some of your work, I've seen your reels, and I'm like, damn, she's good. So let me get her on the podcast.
You're so nice. Oh my God. Okay, see, like I appreciate you even like giving people the spotlight like this. I super appreciate it, and I know other, like I said before, I'm sure other people appreciate you doing this as well.
Yeah, definitely. I sure hope so. But so you're a voice actress. You breathe life into all these characters. What got you interested in this?
Well, for a while, ever since, oh, we're gonna go all the way back.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid, I've always been interested in acting in some shape or form.
Right.
Like I had dreams, like when I was a kid, I would say like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to USC and study to be an actor. Like, watch it happen, mom. Or I was really striving to be the first Latino Marvel superhero in a Marvel movie.
Right.
And I would constantly tell my mom that I'm like, it's gonna happen, mom. I'll make it happen, mom. And she's like, yes, yes, you will. So part of me, ever since I was a kid, always wanted to get into acting somehow. But also as a kid, you think of multiple things you want to be when you grow up. And
Right.
the other option was a marine biologist and a veterinarian or something like that. And just as life progressed, and I didn't get a very early start in this industry.
Right.
The closest thing I even got was when I got into high school. I kind of like dropped the whole acting thing because I just felt it was very out of reach for me for a while, because I feel like I always, for me, like again, I felt like a lot of people got like an early start and I didn't have that opportunity to, just
Right.
because my life was mostly focused on sports. My family was always like, oh, because I did so many, oh gosh. Because my whole family is super duper athletic. And I wanted to do theater when I was in high school, but unfortunately just sports and everything, so that my love for acting kind of like died out a little bit.
Right.
But part of me still really, really wanted to pursue that. So in some way, I kind of did get myself in front of a camera. I used to do modeling for about a year. I think I was a freshman or a sophomore in high school when I did it.
Okay, cool.
But then over time, I was like, gosh, I'm so awkward in front of a camera. How would I be if I was acting in front of a camera? I don't even know what to do with my hands half the time. Like, what do I do? Right? I'm just like, so eventually I did stop modeling and I just ended up pursuing marine biology. And my friends laugh at me for this. I'm gonna go a little bit off topic, but I promise I'll get right back to it.
You're good.
I have thalassophobia, which is like the fear of the ocean, like the unknown of the ocean. And I'm studying marine biology, so my friends always say, like, Brenna, that's so counterproductive. I'm like, you know what? You're right, but I love dolphins, so.
Yeah, there we go. Like, who doesn't love dolphins?
Baba knows dolphins.
They're great
But,
creatures.
Yeah, so for a while I was like studying that, and then one day when I got out of high school, or I was just getting out of high school, I reconnected with an old friend of mine, and she is super duper creative. I'm shouting out my friend Bryn right now. She's my best friend. I've known her since I was like 11. She is a creative person herself. She does a lot of art. She's making a film right now as well. And we reconnected, and out of the blue, she told me, hey, I found this casting call. It's a voice acting casting call. I don't know if you want to do it, but I say you should just try it. And I'm like, okay, let's try it, I guess. And it was really nerve-wracking because, again, I'm dappering into something I've always wanted to since I was a kid. And I just kind of remembered, like, I'm a very big anime nerd. I love watching anime films and stuff like that.
100%.
And so part of me was like, okay, maybe something could potentially come out of this. I don't know. So I took my shot at it, and I actually ended up getting cast. Me and my friend did it together, and I ended up getting cast, and eventually that opened a whole new door. Like, I saw a bunch of people, like, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a community for all this stuff? Are you kidding me? Like, people who not only like acting, but video games and anime and other stuff as well. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could really vibe here. And for a while, it was more of a hobby for me. But over time, like I started meeting like more friends and stuff like that, and seeing that they really wanted to pursue this as a career, and it was really inspiring to see. However, I think what made me think like, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, was I watched the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie,
Yes.
and I freaking love that movie.
Hmm.
But it was weird. I have a weird like fixation with watching people's reactions like in theaters.
Hmm.
So I watched the movie, but then I also watched the theater reactions. I found a YouTube video of people like reacting live to it in the theater,
Right.
and that movie already made me feel so many emotions. And just watching people sit in the theater and react the way they do to specific scenes, it really made me like, I was like, man, it must be like a dream come true to be part of something like that. Like, work with an amazing team to produce this piece of beautiful media that makes people feel so many things. Like, I just remembered how I felt when I watched that movie. And when
Hmm.
I watch other like cutscenes from video games or something like that, you get like this feeling. And I was like, I think that's what I want to give to the people. I think this is what I want to do. And the more I kept watching more theater reactions, I was like, gosh, what I would give to be part of something like this. Like, I get such a joy out of making people feel, and I enjoy acting. Oh my gosh. And it combines multiple things that I like. So why not? And eventually from then on, like, I decided, okay, I want to make this an actual thing for my life. And I'm very happy that I did, because I have the most amazing friend group, and majority of them are in voice acting as well. But I like my friends group's dynamic, because not everyone's a voice actor, but we all still support each other in our endeavors. Like, even if some of us aren't well versed in their career choice,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'm able to like bounce off of my friends' energy and stuff like that. And I feel motivated to really, really make this a reality. And I like to believe that I am making it there bit by bit. But yeah, I know that was a mouthful, but
Yeah, no, that's good, and it's really cool you mentioned the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, because I went to see that in theaters, and when it comes to Dragon Ball, I've like passed in and out of it just cause. But I was like, let's go see the Broly movie. Why not? Things, and I loved it. I was like, wow, this is so entertaining. This is worth my money. I love it. I agree. Like a lot of people around my age, anime was one of the main things that I wanted to get into as well. It still is, but then to see the reason for that being is because, like you said, the way it makes people feel, because the voice acting is getting better and better.
yeah.
The way it makes people feel, the way it could probably turn someone's day reverse upside down, and really bring something to someone's life to help them in some kind of way, just for what, 30 minutes, or if even that, it's great. And to hear that there are other people out there that want to do this for that reason, and that's what drives them, it's good, and it also helps other people too.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you. I love that we all have such an equal passion for this, because it's motivating and inspiring, and we're all able to bounce off of each other. I absolutely love that. I'm very thankful for this community.
Yeah, definitely, it's a great community. So building off of that, what are some of the trends you've noticed that are either on the up or down tick?
Like, what do you mean by trends?
So trends such as, like, one of the most recent ones is that the natural type of read is starting to become even more apparent than just commercials, but also into anime now, in other places of voiceover, like those kind of trends.
I think I know what you're talking about, because it's funny that you bring that up, because I definitely see that like more grounded type of acting, or I'm not too sure about the terminology that someone would use to describe it, but I know what you're talking about. It's a lot, the acting in anime is beginning to get a lot more realistic, not
Right.
so much more like anime or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think because when I was recording my demo reel, I was getting directed by Brenna Becker, and they're absolutely amazing. And the whole time they kept telling me like, okay, you kind of got to pull away from the anime thing, because again, it's not really what people are looking for. I'm like, shoot, you probably right. No, they are right. But, so yeah, And that's something that I've been trying to really work on about myself, because I have noticed that it has become a very prominent thing. Um, just trying to dial back on like the trying to be like, so obviously bring the energy to the performance, of course, but at the
Hmm.
same time, um, try not to sound too hard to sound anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
oh yeah, I have noticed that now that you brought that up.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. I
I
think it's
think
all starting to hit me now ever since the demo reel, but
so. I'm gonna throw out a title you probably heard of, Demon Slayer.
ah,
It's
yeah.
which I'm gonna go catch up on later tonight. But during season 2, when you saw, spoiler for anyone who's listening, but let's be honest, it was out since last year.
Your fault if you haven't seen it.
Exactly. But one of the best scenes in it is when they had the whole fight, and then you had the either surrounded by all those flames, and then the interaction with each character, and how that was going back and forth from. I was like, I remembered their voice actor's name for a second, but forgot their characters. From Tanjiro, just in the mid, just dropped on the floor, to dude with the two blade, Ray Chase, let's put it that way. And
Tengen.
thank you. So Tengen, and what they brought to that from in that whole fight, and then after that, what happened from just those reactions, those were great. And we're seeing more of that now when it comes to animation and video games. Like I love Ray Chase's work. He rolled me through it for 3 whole days in Sekiro, but it was totally worth it. So, but that's the one thing I mean by trends, and we're seeing a lot more of that. We're seeing what I ended up seeing when I started in stage around 19, and it's like more of those are even coming in, and so it's like, yeah, that trend and all kinds of others. But yeah, that's what I wanted to cover on trends.
No, yeah, we are constantly evolving. I don't know, maybe I just haven't noticed, but I think we're constantly evolving in that industry in terms of like our acting and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I
Hmm.
have, like you said, I definitely noticed that trend appearing more now than ever.
Definitely.
Gosh, now you got me thinking of the Tengen fight and everything. Oh my gosh, I actually watch Demon Slayer. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can't wait to start catching up. Things I was like, I missed it because I was so tired last week. But so from we have naturalistic, we have trends, things. What are some of the things you'd recommend that people research, study, and do to if they want to get into this?
So I've actually, I'm more prominent on I would say I'm very active on the Instagram community
Right.
in voiceover over there. Um, I should be using Twitter more. I think it's a great place to market yourself. And people frequently ask me on Instagram about this particular question, and I don't have a set way of how to like pursue this. No one does, because
Hmm.
everyone's different. Some people got their start early, some people came in a little late, but I honestly don't think that there's any like I don't believe there's a way to come into this late. You just come in whenever and take your shot, do what you got to do.
Yep.
But to get into this industry, I definitely recommend taking classes.
Hmm.
That is something that I wish I started doing the moment I got into the community. But again, I was doing it more of a hobby, but part of me does wish I had delved into that a little more, because when you take a class, you feel so different coming out. Like you learn so much, not just about your strengths and your weaknesses, but the industry as a whole.
Hmm.
I definitely think classes are the way to go, as vague as that sounds, but they provide so much, and there's so many that you can take a look at. I say get involved in as many, get involved in the communities, get to know people. Don't go to people in the hopes that they'll give you something in return. Just genuinely get to know these people, because again, who knows, these could potentially be people you'll work with in the future. But get involved in any way that you can, because everyone has some sort of resource that they can give you, and just being able to vibe with somebody with the same amount of passion as you for a similar career choice is like, it's really good for you.
Yep.
Yeah, my big thing is definitely surrounding yourself with people. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of us, there's so many ways that a person's career goes when they decide to take on acting, and it could go overnight. That we've seen a lot of those, or it could take time. And especially when you talk about like having friends, because this process can sometimes get a bit daunting when you're on the grind. And then the fact that you have people with you to back you up. Like one of my friends, I was like, ah, man, my auditions aren't going anywhere. And then me and him were just sitting there playing Halo, and he told me like the most bro thing you could do and stuff. And he's like, hey man, you got to understand, you're gonna have to work harder than others that are doing this and things, because you don't know what they have to prompt themselves up, but you know what you got. So what you got to do is you got to work harder and put in more work for that things. Yeah. And I remember we had that conversation. I was like, you know what? You're totally right, man. Let's get back to playing Halo and possibly winning.
No, yeah, that's good. Definitely come into this industry with a strong mindset. Obviously, it is easier said than done, and we're all human. And we're going to feel really down on ourselves when we're not getting any auditions, or just something's going wrong and you feel like you're lacking behind. Your biggest enemy is definitely going to be yourself in here. And as hard as it is, try not to think like that. I always tell people, obviously, like, we're human. Allow yourself to feel like that for a little while, but you got to pick yourself back up. You have to. One thing that you are going, I know for a fact, you know this, but one thing that discourages a lot of people is, rejection.
Yeah.
However, I've kind of put myself in the mindset that, like, okay, well, all right, cool. Cricket noises from the audition that I got. Okay, I'm not mad at all. It sucks for me, of course, but I try to remind myself that this is a normal thing. Like, this is definitely an expectation you have to have in the industry, that rejection is going to happen. It is very common. And I like to think of it as like, okay, when one opportunity closes, or when one door closes, another one opens.
Yep.
Gosh, I had something else really cool to say, and then my train of thought completely crashed.
I'm sure when it comes back, feel free to chime in on it.
It's just gonna be so random. I'll be like, oh, fuck the way.
Yes.
But gosh, what was I saying? Okay, right. Definitely getting yourself into a healthy mindset. Obviously, allow yourself to feel the way that you do when this sort of thing happens, but always remember to pick yourself up. We are going to be our biggest enemies in this industry, constantly comparing ourselves to other people. And the cool thing. Okay, I just remembered. Okay.
Here we go.
Whenever I get rejected from an audition, obviously, I don't hear anything back. I'm just like, okay, fine. I always remind myself, like, people don't watch how you handle success. They're going to watch how you handle failure. So I just try to keep my head held high and just remind myself, like, okay, yeah, that happened, but at least I was able to even audition for that in the first place. And that in itself is the win for me. And obviously not everybody is able to think like that, of course, because again, we're all human at the end of the day. And at some point, it is going to affect us. And that's why I always say, allow yourself to feel that way, but just remember, pick yourself back up. You gotta pick yourself back up. Yeah, you gotta, like, my friend, I remember I was really, really down on myself one time, because right when I was like when I figured out that this is something that I wanted to pursue, I was getting so mad because I was like, gosh, this isn't going fast enough. Like, I'm so impatient. I want it now.
Now.
And, right? However, we have to remember that we need to take our time to develop our craft. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, of course. And my friend, he was talking to me one night because I was really, really down on myself. I mean, we were in call. He was talking to me. He was basically saying, like, I'm going to put it this way for you. And this is something that I hold on to me for the rest of my life. One, because it sounds goofy, and then two, because it makes a lot of sense. But my friend, when I was getting on myself because things weren't picking up fast enough, and I'm just like, oh, give it to me now. Just give it now. He told me, okay, you got to chill. He put it like this. Think of it like this. You have all the ingredients that you need. They're just cooking, and they're just not ready to be served yet. And so ever since he said that, like, I always, like, every audition that I do, every role that I get, every class that I take, every new piece of information that I learn, I'm like, okay, that's an ingredient added to the Thanksgiving dinner. Cool. And over time, like, it takes a while for a dish to be prepped. And I can't believe I am comparing this to food, but it makes sense to me.
That's perfect. Okay, I'm all down for food comparison and analogies.
ah, heck yeah.
Yes.
And so I stick that with me everywhere I go. Like it is always on my mind. I'm like, anytime I don't get something, I'm just like, okay, that's totally fine. Like this dish is still brewing and it's just not ready to be served yet. Um, so if you want to take that quote, you are more than welcome to. I happily pass it down.
Thank you. I appreciate that,
Of
Brenna.
course.
So with that being said, because the other thing is, I'm there comes a point where people start to learn that everything you just said, and also too, you start to learn that there are multiple things to do within this industry, not just. Speaking of analogies, there were multiple ways to get into the building. So I had to do the fire temple last night, and it's 5 floors, and I'm like, how do I get up to the 5th floor? I don't know. I don't see a way up there. So I went around and climbed up the entire building to get there. Yeah, it was dangerous and a little bit more risky, but it was worth it because there was my objective. The same thing works in this line of business. Whether you're getting through an audition, networking with people, or providing other skills that you have as a person to help a cause. Could be management, but basically showing that you have a lot to offer and you're a problem solver.
Yeah.
Stuff. And I think that's like that's also good to mention because like you mentioned, you have people with you. There's a lot of things to do. So when someone starts getting down on themselves, you have friends to lift you up, or it's like, what other approaches can I take to get to where I'm trying to get to?
Yes, yes. I like to reevaluate my position and be like, okay, what do I feel like that I'm lacking in right now? For
Right.
example, a good one is just recently, um, I've been looking for an ADR class, and I'm just like, gosh, and a lot of them are expensive. So I feel like the voice acting industry is it can be really, really expensive. So spare your money as best as you can.
Time to make
There
a
are
budget.
ways to go around, yes, budget. And there are ways to go around, like, around the loopholes and get yourself, like, cheaper stuff, and it'll work just as efficiently
Right.
as, like, the pro tools and stuff. Gosh, I sound so, like, uneducated with the tech stuff. I'm like, yeah, the pro tools, guys.
Pro tools. There we go.
Pro tools. Yeah, save your money. Save your money. You don't need a big fancy booth to get the job done. I'm sitting in a booth made out of PVC pipes and moving blankets.
PVC pipe gang right here and stuff because I'm doing the same thing.
High five me through the Zoom call. High five me.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I hope
Yeah.
I didn't peek it.
No, you're good.
I'm so sorry. What was the question again? I got a little lost.
So, because we're actually just tying into another question, because you mentioned Instagram, and I just happen to create my, I just happen to sit there and be like, you know what, I'll make an Instagram for voiceover work right now. I will rebrand my Instagram and go from there. But since we're talking about social media, what would you recommend an actor build their network, and what are ways that they should avoid building their network, and ways that they should encourage or do to build their network?
Okay. Me personally, whenever I think of marketing, I think the best platform to use is Twitter. As much as I love Instagram and I'm very active on it, I think it's mostly because like a lot of people have known me on there since day one, and I kind of act like a goofball a little bit. Obviously, market yourself with professionalism, of course. Like put your work out there, your best work out there. Be kind to others who are going to see your platforms. And how should I put this? It's like, yeah, I feel like Twitter is where the bigger people are at. Of course, everyone's got an Instagram account and stuff like that. Don't be afraid to be yourself as well, because they want to work with like a real person, of course. So that's why I'm kind of not really afraid to. My friends laugh at me because they're like, "Gosh, Brenna, you post about your anime boys on Twitter as well." I'm like, yes, because at the end of the day, I'm also a real person.
Yeah.
So obviously market yourself with professionalism, but also be real with yourself as well. And avoid, me personally, I kind of like try to, obviously I care about like any particular situations that go on within the voice acting community, but definitely pick your battles. And whenever like a situation arises and stuff, like I typically try to take it behind the scenes and like navigate everything.
Right.
Be careful with what you post as well, you know, just the typical stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree, especially with the picking battles, because online, and I've noticed this for a lot of people, everything that shows up in the news, it could be boys, it could be pineapple pizza, tacos, what have you. Things. Oh, great! I just had tacos earlier today. I might want more, but when those happen, they'll jump onto it if it's an alarming subject, like taco shortage in the U.S. Oh, God, I hope that never happens.
Same.
Yeah, but they jump on it, and next thing you know, it starts up a whole firestorm in the comments. As voice actors who also are working on our own business brand, some of those firestorms could easily come back to bite a person.
Oh yeah, of course. I heavily agree with that, and that's why Twitter terrifies me a little bit, because I know a lot of people. Twitter is definitely known for like putting out really, really important problems out there, and of course, people are valid to comment under them and stuff, and share their opinions and stuff like that. Go full throttle, heck yeah, say what you got to say, because again, these are their morals at the end of the day. However, with me, I'm just very like, not to say that I'm quiet about them, but I do care. However, like, I try to conduct myself in a way where like, I don't want to make that, because when people come to my account, I want them to see my work and then who I am, you know? I want to show them like me in a way. Like, I understand like how I feel about situations and stuff like that. It also represents a part of me, but I also kind of want to make my space like a place where people can just take a breather and maybe laugh at something funny that I posted or something like that, you know, just a kind of refreshing space, a safe space, you know?
Right. And that's also good too, because when you mentioned being real about it, I think for some actors, like, it took me a second, because I was like, oh, yay, I'm studying the theater arts, I feel great. But then when it came to, okay, maybe I'm serious about jumping into this, when being new to it, and this was especially the case, I was like, all right, how do I navigate about this? Do I just give a thumbs up, just show up and like, and look? And then as I grew as an actor, I learned I don't have to try so hard. It's to be me. Just if I show up, obviously be polite and nice to people, but at the same time be real. Like, if you can help a person, great. If you need to draw a line between in a project, do so. All of those things.
Yes. And another thing I wanted to bring up is like, it's industry, stay true to your morals, you know. Don't ever feel pressured to do something you're not comfortable with when it comes to like directors and stuff like that. Speak your mind, you know, defend yourself. Feel like, I'm not quite comfortable with this, you know.
Yeah.
Stay true to your morals here. Even just outside of the industry, stay true to your morals in general.
Yes, stay true to you in general. Stuff, it'll get you very far. But no, this is great. Like, always hearing other people. And the main point of this podcast was to interview people who are in the trenches, like you, like me. Well, not self-interviewing me, but interview people who are in the trenches and they're making their way through this. They've made the mistakes, they've learned from them, or they made the successes, learned from them, and are just ready to push that over and share it with others.
Yeah.
So it's really good. And overall, I think I agree. This is a great community to be a part of. So what future projects do you have that you can talk about, are slated, and are you excited about?
Ooh, okay. So, I talked about it on Twitter a little bit, but I'm finally going to my first premiere at a movie theater, and I'm really, really excited. I I don't care if it's like a small indie movie. I don't care. I'm going to dress the heck up, because who knows when I'll have another opportunity like this again. So,
yes, girl. Yes.
It's on my IMDb. It's called Never Any Blue.
Okay.
And I believe it's like a drama. Yes. And oh my gosh, like, I got to do a little bit of ADR work for it. I just provided extra voices, and oh my gosh, it was such a fun experience, and I'm just so excited to see it up on a big screen, and then getting to dress up, and all my friends are coming along and they're dressing up as well, and I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, the movie's called Never Any Blue. I'm gonna wear blue.
There we go. That's my favorite color too.
So I'm really looking forward to that. That's this month, on the 24th of June.
Nice.
And I never thought that would happen. I really never thought. But life works in mysterious ways. So any opportunity that you see, go for it, you know? Another project, I just posted about it recently. It was today. It's Interstellar Ranger Commence. There's a title similar to that, and I voiced Carmen, and I'm super excited because I was not aware when I agreed to provide the voice of Carmen. I was not aware of the amount of support that this project has, like a lot of the fans that it has. And so I definitely will not lie, I'm a little intimidated, but excited as well because I got to work with a really, really cool team. Mauricio is super duper nice. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do. Like, I love watching, again, this kind of goes into what we were talking about before when we were talking about like the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie and
Right.
like seeing everything unfold together, like behind the scenes and stuff, and just being able to be part of a production team like that. I got to watch like the animation process for this, and I was geeking out. I was trying so hard not to geek out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so just being able to be part of that, I'm really excited for everyone to see it. Oh my gosh.
That's so awesome. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, you're good. I was just trying to think of like what else like is coming up that I can talk about.
It's like the rest is like NDA. He's like, well, this
Right.
NDA right here, and it has an NDA. It's about an NDA. NDA. It's like,
Like, oh shoot, non-disclosure agreement. Oh, okay, another one. Oh, yeah, another.
but that's good. It's like you're getting work. That's good.
Yeah, and obviously I have my stagnant moments where I don't get any work and stuff like that, and that's okay. I'm totally cool with that. Just got to put in an additional 100% of hard work.
There we
Push
go.
through it.
There we go.
I think those are the big two that I can talk about right now.
Nice. So
Yeah.
we'll be sure. Speaking of which, after this, I'll be sure to link them when this video goes up, so everyone who's viewing this can see them.
Yes,
So-
please go watch it if you can. Like, there are so many talented individuals in there. With the Interstellar anime, I remember last year I saw a bunch of clips of it and stuff like that. I'm like, man, what it would be like to be part of something like that. Like, if I could be in that, I would be so happy. And even then, I didn't realize how many people were anticipating this and loved the characters and stuff like that. I didn't realize how big it was. Like, for example, on my Instagram, I made the announcement and people were like, yo, you're in the Interstellar anime? I'm like, how y'all know about that already? Like, what the? Like, I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay, this sounds a lot bigger than I initially anticipated. Like, oh, gosh, the pressure's on.
It's like our responsibility now.
Oh, gosh, I'm scared. But I'm also really, really excited, of course. Yeah, like, I'm looking at some of the comments right now. Someone put, yo, what? I love the guy behind this. I watch his channel all the time. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I will do you proud, I swear, I hope.
So represent.
But yeah, if you watch that, let me know. Let me know your thoughts and opinion. Like, I
Definitely.
think everyone did phenomenal. The animator, the story is a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, like, it's so beautiful watching it all come together.
It's definitely. I'm happy for you. Very happy for you on this, and definitely happy to plug this after when the video comes in. Speaking of plugs, where can people find you?
Okay, so I'm just gonna give you guys my two main social media platforms that I use, just because the other ones I'm not as active on. But you can find me on Instagram, which is where I'm most active. It's BrennaThornton.vo. So it's just BrennaThornton.vo. And then on Twitter, you can find me on there as Thornton Brenna. So again, it's just my last name in front of my first name. THORNTON, and then Brenna at the very end. Yeah, let me follow back right now.
Thank you.
Immediate 6 seconds. Oh yeah.
Stuff.
Oh, I appreciate your support so much, Richie. I'm really, I cannot wait to see the work that you do.
Thank you.
And you brought up how like you were like, oh well, this like podcast isn't necessarily like about you. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, if I had my own podcast, which I've thought of before, best believe I would interview you because
Thank
I know
you.
you've got a lot of stories to share as well. Everyone's got a story to share, and everyone deserves to share it with the world, you know?
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I agree. That's what we're doing when we when we dive into voice acting is we're sharing stories, putting parts of ourselves in there, our experience to really bring that out. And to hear Interstellar, like, hell yeah, I'll check it out. I want to see what it is that people like you, other people are bringing to the table. And like you say, you were with a great cast. Like, I recorded an audio drama about 2 weeks ago, and 10 minutes in, I knew this is where I belong as my career. And then to be around all these other people who were, some of them were new, but they were still taking this seriously. They were doing great. And then others, they were veterans and they were doing even better. It's that kind of positivity and drive is just infectious.
No, yeah, it's definitely great being in a community where you're able to bounce off of that energy from everyone. And I'm gonna go into my friend group a little bit again.
Yeah.
But they are the absolute best for me, because in the beginning when I started voice acting, I didn't really have that much support. I actually got like kind of put down for even trying to pursue this. Especially by someone that I considered to be really, really close with me. And
right.
The moment I showed him like I had an interest in this sort of thing, he was like, that's really weird. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And for the longest time, I actually kept it from my family as well, because I was nervous that everyone would have that reaction with me.
Right.
Because I guess in a sense, no, actually, no, I don't understand why they would find that weird. This is just me trying to always find a common ground with some people, trying to see where they're coming from. But if it makes me happy, like, that's all that matters, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, for the longest time, I hid it from my family, and it was really tough too, because when I initially got into voice acting and stuff, I was moving all over the place. Like, it's just some stuff, personal stuff with my family happened, and I ended up moving in with my aunt, with my mom, and I was like, oh shoot, okay, now there's multiple people in the house I have to worry about. I cannot let them hear me when I voice act. I am terrified that they'll think it's weird. So I would constantly work around it. Like, I would record under a blanket in the living room next to the window so I could see when they would be coming home. And then immediately when I'd see them pull up in the driveway, I'm like, okay, go to your room, pretend like nothing happened. Go, 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 go. Sometimes they do catch me though. I'm just like, I was practicing my singing. I wasn't voice acting, mother. I was not. And my mom's like, you sing? And I'm like, now I do.
It's like, yeah, you don't know. He's just like, you don't know me as well as you thought.
I'm like, it's not a phase, Mom. But that's also another thing. I'm sorry, I'm all jumping all over the place.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it.
Doing voice acting, like, after like trying to hide it from my family for so long, and again, I moved again, and I had to find another spot to record, and like I started building a booth for myself in my closet, and then I ended up moving again, and so I had to find another spot. And I'm actually planning on moving again. So I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many complications coming with this. But if you can, and when you're comfortable, tell your family that you're doing this, because you don't want, because if you're subconsciously thinking like to yourself, like, oh my gosh, like, I already worry about my neighbors, like, and I have their phone numbers, and I let them know, like, hey, I'm going to record. If you hear me shouting and crying in pain, don't worry about it.
It's all good.
Real. Right? I'm like, it is not real. I promise you. Someone actually came knocking on my door one time when I was literally like screaming in pain, in agony for a line. And I heard like a bunch of knocking on my door. And I was like, oh my God, like my social anxiety is like going through the roof. I'm like, what do I tell them? Like, sorry, my character that I voiced was dying. What do I tell them? So long as you're like, you know that you're trying to hide your profession from somebody and you're weary of other people that may hear you, honestly, it's within your best interest to just let them know than rather trying to hide it. And I've learned that after so long, because I even learned this in class. Again, classes help a ton.
100%.
Oh yeah, 100%. And my teacher gets on me all the time. It's Corinna. I go to their classes I mostly go to their classes, if anything, like more than others,
right.
Just because I love how Corinna is so real with their students. And Corinna's always telling me like, you're holding back on me. You're holding back on me. And I'm just like, sorry, I'm scared I'm gonna like freak out my neighbors. I'm sorry. I don't want my mom to hear me. I'm sorry. It's like, you don't want to subconsciously be thinking about that when you're trying to perform, because it's going to create such a hindrance. You got to let yourself go full throttle. And I think it's funny, like I need to be taking this advice as well, because Corinna has told me the last time I went to class to one of Corinna's classes was the ADR class.
Right.
And Corinna was like, you're still holding back on me. You need to just like, I'd rather you let out all the energy here and now, because a director isn't going to tell you to tone down your acting. More than likely, they'll tone down the gain on your microphone. Bring all that energy. So that way they at least know, oh shoot, okay, that person is capable of that. Okay, we don't need that for that specific scene, but at least we know. So put all that energy out there in the beginning. Show them what you got. And I need to take that. I need to take my own advice. Dang it. But yeah, definitely let them know, because I spent so long trying to hide it from my family. But the third time I moved, I finally let them know, and I was like, you're probably wondering why I go into my closet and I tell you to put the TV on full blast so you don't hear me. It's because I do this. And I thought like, oh my gosh, my family's gonna think I'm so weird or something like that. And no, they're super duper supportive. My brother, like, we're in a financial struggle, and my brother took the time to put some money aside to get me my first voice acting class. Like, surround yourself with people who are generally going to care about what you do, you know?
Yeah.
If they see it brings you happiness, they'll be supportive. And going back to my friend group, they are super duper supportive. And whenever one of us falls, we all kind of stop and we're like, hey, no one proceed yet. we got someone on the wheel. The fifth wheel on the wagon is flat. We got to do something first before we can proceed. But yeah, surround yourself with people like that. And again, like you'll see, like when you have people like that in your life, it's amazing. Like, as cheesy as that sounds, but like, oh my gosh, I freaking love them. They're great.
Yeah, it's great. Plus, everyone that you talked about who supported you answered an earlier question I was about to ask, which was who were the people that like best supporting you, and you answered that. And I think there are a lot of people out there, and I'm so glad we did this, because there are a lot of people out there who they're suppressing what it is that they need to deliver in order to like, for whatever reason that could be. And like I had done the same thing, like when I was taking acting classes during college. My teacher was trying to pull it out of me almost. She's like, you are holding back on me. Okay. And at the time I didn't know why, but I'm so used to just being like, sup. Yeah. So she's like, I really want you to just go 100%. And when I did, I was like, oh my God. It awakened. Right? And everyone looked, they're like, oh, this all changed now. I was like, yeah, I'm the judge of this play, because I was a judge. And I think it's really important for people to understand, like, when you can just go 100% right there, you're going to do so much more for yourself as a person and the project and everything else you had mentioned about now the engineers and the directors know, oh, they can do this. Perfect. We're working with them at 100%. So they have more to work with.
Yeah, exactly. Like, put your best foot forward always. And I totally get it, like, hindering your voice performances and stuff like that. Like, it's scary, because I've always told Corinna this. Corinna was helping me with my demo reel. They were directing me.
Right.
And I kept telling Corinna, like, I'm just so scared. I'm going to scare somebody. I'm so scared that I'm going to scare somebody. And Corinna's like, that's what you want, though. And I'm like, like, yeah, like, you put all that out there. Show them what you got. And I'm just like, you're so right. I highly recommend Corinna's classes. They are so real with you and will tell you straight up, and all they want to do is just see you succeed. And that whole session of like my demo reel really was a learning experience as well, because it's funny, like, I'm putting out all this work to market myself, but as I'm like putting in that work to market myself, even after I got out of there, I felt like I learned something new about myself already. And I was just like, dang, I could have put that in my demo reel, but
so, yeah.
But having a good teacher as well, like, I highly recommend Corinna. Corinna was absolutely amazing. And like I said, Corinna knows when I'm holding back and has gotten on me and still gets on me for holding back, and I don't blame them because, again, it's scary. It's because, like I said, I just don't want to scare anybody. I don't want to do that. But it's also my nerves. So there was something that what's his name, Max Middleman,
Right.
said at I think it was at a convention one time. He said something to the effect that whenever he's auditioning or he's getting live directed, because here's the thing, when we subconsciously think about something, it is going to hinder our performance.
Yep.
It is going to. Even if you even in this case, if you're nervous and you know you're nervous and you're doing your best to hide your nerves, Max Middleman put it this way, and I kind of taken that to heart and try to implement it in however I can. But oh my gosh, he said something along the lines of make it known that you're nervous in the beginning, like kind of just put it out there in the air, like I just want to let you know, like really happy to be here, but I am a little nervous, da da da. Kind of like doing a reverse psychology kind of thing, I think is how you would say it.
Right.
Putting it open out there in the air so that way you don't have anything to hide and you can just go forward. Like, okay, yeah, we know you're nervous. Okay, understandable. Go ahead. Because now that it's up in the air, what do you have to hide? You don't have to subconsciously think like, oh my gosh, like I gotta make sure I don't sound nervous. Okay, well they already know I'm nervous. Go for it. Our subconscious is going to be another big enemy of ours. It's all these like mental hurdles we have to hop over, right? Oh my gosh, you and I made the same hand. I was like, it's like a hurt. Yeah, all of it is just like a mental hurdle that we have to hop over, and we'll get there. Again, that all comes with building our craft and just throwing yourself into these scenarios, whether it's a class or going into a table read. Throw yourself in there, get used to that feeling, and eventually it's going to come to you instinctually, if that's a word. I don't know. I felt like that was a really big word for me, and I was like,
No, I'm pretty sure that's a word. You're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, this has been great. First off, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you responding to my DM when I said, "Hey, you want to talk about your journey in voiceover?" It's great to hear. It's also great to hear your success stuff. I say keep at it. Congratulations, you got my support. And also thank you for, sharing what it is that really got you from one step to another for other people out there who are probably wondering like, what the hell did I do? I don't know. And then they hear people in the trenches who are just like, yeah, we've been there. And this is one way we got through it. So again, I really appreciate it.
No, yeah, and I appreciate you taking the time to even reach out to me and giving me an opportunity to share my experiences, even though they sounded super jumbled, like I cannot focus sometimes. But I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if you or anybody else who's listening has any questions and wants to hear things a little bit more in depth, because again, I am like all over the place when I talk, feel free to message me. I'm open to communication and helping out however I can. Because again, as a community, I want to be able to help other people. Like when you're in a community, you want to extend the ladder down for everybody else. And that's what I hope to do for other people as well.
Yep. That's it.
So yeah, if any of you need anything, a message away.
Sounds good. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Hit that like, subscribe button. You can see Brenna's socials, where to find her upcoming projects, and I'll see you guys around.
Yeah, follow Richie too.
Thank you.